Hi, I'm Mrs. Gray. I don't give a cluck. Get your cluck ass out my face. Sup? Dope. Got your snacks, your cuddle buddy, and your Adidas. Check, check, check. And I'm about to start switching this and be like, you got your Orville Red box of popcorn, cuddle buddy, and your Adidas. Now I just need a brand for because I always say you got your snacks, your cuddle buddy, and your Adidas. Now I say you got your Orville Red box of popcorn, your cuddle buddy, and your Adidas. Check, check, check. I was about to call it a day until I got a notification from that Mr. Nightmare upload. I was like, I've got to react to this. I can't miss no.
I've been dating my girlfriend for 3 years now.
Me too.
I'll nickname her Nikki. It started innocently enough that I commented on one of her Instagram stories and we started chatting from there.
You lost me. You lost me. You lost the hell out of me!
Eventually I got her number and then Snapchat, and after a week we met in person. We started hanging out right after the holidays in January, and the thought of Valentine's Day was already coming up. It was nice having started talking to a girl around that time so that I wouldn't feel the dread of being alone on that annoying holiday. But as Valentine's Day approached and Nikki and I were a few dates in, she confided in me about a stalker situation she'd been dealing with. The man's name is Ben, and he's a guy a few years old.
So, Ashley, I literally forgot her real name. I forgot her name. I'm just going to call her Ashley. Ashley, why... You know, you couldn't say nothing when we was talking to each other on Instagram? On Snapchat? Huh? You couldn't say nothing about your damn stalker? You waited until we 3 years in to say something. Clucky.
Then Nikki, who happened to go to the same commuter college as her, met her in class for a group project, and followed her around campus a few times. She never involved police or anything, shockingly. Hearing that this guy found out where she lived, sent her a bunch of creepy texts which she ignored. She said she never blocked the number because she wanted to see how far he would go without getting the hints.
Shut up.
When I gauged why she was choosing now to bring this to my attention, she said because he started reaching out to her again, specifically for Valentine's Day. As you can see here, he started ramping up the texting again as Valentine's Day approached. She continued to just ignore it and let the texts pile up, but he brought it to the next level when he left a box of Russell Stover chocolates on her doorstep. She knew it was from him because he texted her, "I hope you like the gift I left you." This was when she decided to put an end to it and replied to him a long message which I won't share for her privacy, but in short, she said he needs help and that she's seeing someone now, so to leave her alone. There are a number of ways to get someone's address this day and age, but she was scared that he got it by following her home one day. I did my best to make sure that she knew I wouldn't let him do anything to her. Well, fast forward maybe a few days, and Nikki sent me a concerning screenshot. It was a screenshot of some text from a fake number, asking if the guy she was seeing was me. Me as in, he wrote my name. Now I felt involved, and that made me feel moderately uncomfortable. To this point, all I've heard of this guy was that he was a very creepy and overly persistent texter and potentially followed the girl I'm seeing home to her house. And now he's texting her on fake numbers, bringing up my name. It was reaching the point where Nikki was close to calling the police if this didn't stop.
Close?
I told her I'd go to the police station with her if he reached out one more time. Fast forward to Valentine's Day. It was on a Friday this year. Nikki and I went out to eat at a nice restaurant that sat on the water.
To be honest, the first time you encountered or you noticed you had a stalker, you should have played the shit, right? Invited him over, spiked his drink, took him to the tub, got you some hot 350-degree oil, and while he in the tub, just like.
We were at an outside table because the weather was nice. As we ate, we both took notice to a guy sitting on a bench outside of the dining area by the parking lot with a hat conspicuously pulled down his face as if he were hiding.
Sus.
Nikki made a joke, what if that's Ben? We laughed, but then he slightly tilted his head in our direction as we were looking at him, and then he quickly looked away, and seconds later he got up and walked away. We weren't laughing anymore. Now we actually questioned the chances of that actually being him. But after a few minutes, the conversation shifted to something else, and we enjoyed the rest of our time there. Afterwards, we wanted to keep hanging out. It was Valentine's Day after all, but her parents were home. I had the place to myself, so we went together back to my rental house. We were on the couch, and things were getting a bit more intimate. That's when Nikki pulled away from me and said, "What was that?" I heard it too. Something from outside in the backyard. "Want me to go check?" I asked. She nodded her head. I went out to the backyard patio, expecting to hear some animals scurrying off in reaction to my presence. I slipped on my slides and walked around the yard, looking around for anything that could have fallen over, and I found what made the noise. The entire stack of beach chairs that was leaning on the house had been knocked over. I don't know how that would happen unless someone or something bumped into them. There wasn't even the slightest breeze that night. I looked around at the bushes that encompassed our yard, and then, as if my brain immediately could spot something out of place, I locked in my vision on something tall in the bushes. My neck jutted forward as I literally tried to focus in and get a better look at what I was looking at. I stepped forward a few steps. I had an oh shit moment when I realized it was someone standing in the bushes. He had seen me notice him by this point. I said, "Who is that?" The guy started quickly coming out from the bushes, in a quick enough speed that I took it as a threat, as if he were about to charge at me. I took the chance to get him on the ground when he was still struggling with the bushes and twigs, and I yelled at him to stay down multiple times. I yelled Nikki's name until she came outside, and I said, "Call the police." The guy on the ground struggled and tried to get loose a few times, but I more or less had him in a steady hold. When Nikki came outside while talking with the police, I asked her if this was the guy. She gasped and said, "Oh my God, yes." It was the Ben guy who had been harassing her. What's worse is at that moment, I realized he was wearing the same colored shirt that guy with the cap from earlier at the restaurant was wearing. Police got to the house and put him in cuffs. He would be charged with trespassing. And taking advantage of the moment, Nikki showed the officers all of the harassing and obsessive messages she'd been receiving from him. Since he was already being arrested, Nikki pressed charges for stalking and harassment, which the guy ultimately ended up paying a fine for and getting a misdemeanor. Nikki got an order of protection against him, and now if he ever contacts her again, he'll be arrested again. Ben was the ultimate creep. Thank God he's at least halfway smart enough to not have contacted her again, though.
Yeah, we breaking up after that. How you not gonna tell me till 3 years later?
This happened 4 years ago. Valentine's Day was coming up. My boyfriend and I had planned a cute dinner, like what most couples do. As we were walking into the restaurant, there's this couple outside, weirdly staring at my boyfriend and I. I slightly shove my boyfriend's arm as we get inside, and he gives out his name to be put in the wait line. The host said it would be a 45-minute wait, and she said she would text us when our table was ready. My boyfriend said let's go to the mini golf across the street, so we're walking back to his car. The lady from the couple stood up and held up her hand, introducing herself as Mrs. Gretty.
What?
I found it really weird and looked at my boyfriend. The lady still had her hand out. I wasn't trying to be rude. I gave her a shake.
Nah. I don't give a fuck what you gave her. I would have gave her, "Hi, I'm Mrs. Gray." I don't give a fuck. Get your fuck ass out my face.
The lady went on to explain that her and her husband think we're a great-looking couple, and they're photographers and think we would make great photos and to follow...
You sus! Look, I know we look damn good. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that was it. You know what I mean? Hey, I know we look at what it's at. But nah, we good. I can see through your clockness. I see the red flags that you handed me. You know when you went to go shake my hand? It wasn't, I didn't just see your hand. I saw 6 different red flags that you was trying to give me, and I don't appreciate that. I don't want your red flags. I see the bullshit that you trying to hide. Hell no.
To the studio, and she believes the wait time will be long. She goes on to say that she has no card on her, but their place was a 5-minute drive away and they could take us there as well. Red flags are going off, and my boyfriend politely declines and lets her know we have things to do. The look was still one of the most haunting looks ever as she smiled and sat down next to the husband. As we get in the car, I tell my boyfriend how creepy that interaction was and how the husband didn't even say a word. As we enter the mini golf place, we were pretty surprised to find it empty.
Oh shit.
We laughed the situation off, but in reality, I'm still creeped out.
Hold on now. Beer pong? Hey, yo. I'll lie to you not. Either I went mini golfing one time in life, or I just dreamt that shit. Like it was a very vivid dream, or I'd never been mini golfing ever. Because that shit looks insane. That shit look crazy as hell. And when I say crazy, that shit looks awesome. I'm not gonna hold you like that look nice. What is this? If anybody knows where this is, like, you know, alright, so I live near Atlanta, more or less. And there's this spot or city or whatever called Cumberland. And they have a something called Main Event. It's like this big building that has all of these fun activities that you can do. And it has a movie theater. So I don't know what this is called. Like, where would this be at?
This place is not really huge. You can see the front door on all the levels. So as we're on our 5th round, I hear the entrance bell ring. I turn to look, and my heart sinks. It's the same lady with her husband. She seems to look around, and then as we make eye contact, she gives me the creepiest smile. I let my boyfriend know, and he turns to look as they're getting their things. I tell my boyfriend I'm uncomfortable and we should just go wait in the car, as 15 minutes have passed already, so it wouldn't be much longer. He agrees, and we turn around, and they're right behind us, giving us the widest smiles. Crazy how we both came to this spot, said Mrs. Gretty. This time the husband says, we should face each other, Gretty versus Rod. My boyfriend's heart sank in that moment.
I would say, and you could shut the hell up on this one before I beat that ass.
As his last name is Rods. We politely declined, not wanting to know how they knew that information, and we said we have to go. Both of their smiles faded as we rushed out of there. I told my boyfriend we should just call it a night and go back to his place since it was closer than mine. Plus, my parents wouldn't be home until Sunday morning. He said we would go after dinner and not let some random weird couple ruin the night for us. We waited about 15 minutes in his car, talking about how weird the situation was, as he gets a text from the restaurant saying they're ready for us. We eat dinner, and he insists on paying today since it's Valentine's Day, as we usually split the bill. He goes to the bathroom, and as I'm waiting, I thought I saw that lady peeking out from around a corner. I convinced myself it was just in my head.
It is.
My boyfriend gets out and is ready to go. Now, to get to his place, you have to take this long road surrounded by trees. As we start the drive, we notice a car following behind. I let my husband know, and we head into a CVS parking lot. I have to use the restroom, and since it was going to be a drive, we both get out and go. When we come out, we don't see that car that was potentially following us anywhere, so we make our way to his house. You know that road I talked about earlier being surrounded by trees? Well, while we're driving on it, we're like 3 to 5 minutes onto this road. We heard a loud pop, and my boyfriend stopped his car. His 2 front tires had popped.
That would have never happened if what? You had Adidas tires. Somebody had to say it.
He put 2 and 2 together and ran to the car and said, "Get out, there's not much more time before they get here." He cut his engine and turned off the lights and locked the door. I was so scared and confused, not knowing what was going on. I told him we should wait in the car. He quickly got me and we ran into the woods. He told me to shush. We were hiding behind some trees and bushes. While we hid, he called the cops and quickly explained where we were at and what was happening.
Come on.
The operator asked to stay on the line, and the cops would be here in a couple minutes.
Come on with
He
it.
said he couldn't stay on the line and hung up. As we stayed laying down, we heard a car engine coming up. My boyfriend said to lay flat as he did too. We heard the engines of the car stop, and we heard the familiar voice of Mrs. Gretty. If that
Your boyfriend, that's a keeper right there. That's a motherfucking keeper right there. Let's go.
even her real name. She yelled, "Shit, we took too long." We heard a car door close, and then a car quickly speed away. We stayed down until the cops got there, which was about 2 minutes later. We explained the situation and got told we would be contacted if something came up. I called my sister to come pick us up, and he called the tow truck for his car. 4 years later, nothing has come up on it, and we never found out what they wanted or who they were. We're now married with a crazy story to tell our kids.
You know what would have been dope is if, because it's dark, is if you told your girl, what's her name, Nikki, to go on the other side of the road, and we're gonna try to get these license plates. Just hear me out on this. Okay, so both of y'all on one, he on one side, she on one side, and y'all both hiding behind some trees, but close enough that y'all can see the license plate. And between one of y'all, or both of y'all get the license plate. Dang, that would have been sick. Anytime it's anonymous, you know they scared of shit.
During the fall 2018 semester, I was doing some online classes through a pretty prestigious college, but I knew that I would transfer to my hometown four-year university for the winter semester. I still wanted to make some new friends though, so that I wouldn't feel alone, and maybe along the way it would be nice to meet someone to date, which is what happened. I met this girl through Tinder. She was really cool, and we had...
I don't give a damn! That shit hurt. I'm not gonna hold you. I don't give a fuck. Like, when meeting somebody online and talking to somebody online that you never met, what's the least cluck? In the comment section below, what's the least cluckness? Like the least cluck app that you can talk to somebody online. Off some like, oh, I'm trying to meet up with you, or I'm trying to like, you know what I mean? I feel you. Is it Instagram? Or is it like, is all of those apps that you can talk to somebody like through the DMs, is it all cluck? Whether it's like Instagram, Twitter, because Tinder is out the question. You know? So what's the app where least cluckness happens, but at the same time you be like, yo, I'm feeling you. We've been talking we've been talking for a while. I don't know how to really word that, but I want to say I have to fart. Sorry, excuse me. So I want to say it's Instagram, but I don't know. Because any app that you can talk to somebody that you never met, but still like talk to somebody for days, weeks, months, that's cluck, right? I don't know.
A lot in common. Long story short, we started dating and we had a lot of fun together.
Off Tinder though?
She wasn't from my hometown, and I had noticed that after she came back from Thanksgiving break, the way she behaved and her attitude had changed. She was always on the more sarcastic side, but now it just seemed mean. For example, the playful, flirtatious teasing had become way more aggressive. There was no physical harm, I should say that. It was just the kind of teasing that shouldn't be happening in a relationship.
Stop.
I just brushed it off as stress due to finals approaching. She eventually went back home for winter break. We always found ways to stay in touch every day, such as text, Snap, and occasional FaceTime, either once or twice a week.
Okay, FaceTime.
Once the winter semester started, I moved into an apartment because the dorms didn't seem that fun, and I had found something nice that was surprisingly cheap. Literally the night of the first day of classes, we decided to break up. Like I said, she was from a different state, and she was having a lot of trouble being away from home because she missed her family, friends, and pets a lot. Besides me and her roommate, who she didn't really get along with.
Or did she miss the cluckness that she was used to doing? That's a possibility.
She barely knew anybody in town. She was just such a shy person. And that's not a bad thing, but like I said, she didn't have a lot of friends to surround herself with. So she just wanted to be by herself all the time. So it was a nice exit out without having to be the one that did the dumping, because that kind of stuff just gives me too much stress and anxiety. A few weeks went by, and each day I felt a little less sad because when I looked back on the relationship, there were a bunch of issues that I had overlooked.
Like?
It was the week leading up to Valentine's Day, and I was kind of sad because I had some fun things planned that I wanted.
These robes that I'm seeing right now, look dangerous as hell.
To surprise my girlfriend with. I decided that maybe for that week, I would reactivate my Tinder account. Really to see if I could get a match and possibly hang out with someone on the holidays so I wouldn't be alone because most of my friends had their own boyfriends and girlfriends.
Man, bro! I'm yelling on it. If y'all can just hear the inside of my head. I'm yelling right now in my head. Like, just even when I was single and I was out here messing around, holding it up, I never once thought about Tinder. I would rather be by myself during the holidays than to be with a cluck ass that I met off of Tinder.
I did about 2 days before the holiday, and I got some matches after a few hours of having the app. I chatted with most of them.
I'm not gonna lie. Look, why does it look like the same box that we seen earlier? Maybe I'm tripping. But I'm not gonna lie. These candies or whatever this is, these look kind of scary. Maybe it's because of because I'm reacting to a horror story. But these candies or cupcakes or whatever, these look dangerous as shit.
That's what their Valentine's Day plans were. And not to my surprise, they were all going out to bars. Personally, that lifestyle isn't really my thing. It just doesn't seem that fun to me. I always use it as a last resort, and I wasn't that desperate. Yet. I eventually started texting with a girl named Alex, who wasn't into that stuff either. She would rather stay in and watch movies, which is what I would rather be doing too.
Yeah, and to chop up you in little bite-sized pieces and eat you up and watch, not my videos, because you got all that. I don't know what you gonna watch, but you don't watch my shits. I hope somebody that's watching this video right now, if you're a viewer, or if you randomly come across this video, right, listen to me carefully. I understand that I can't technically see you, but if you're watching this video right now and you're nibbling on some human toes, or if you nibbling on some human body parts right now, just know that you got all my disrespects. You get no flowers from me. Get off my video. Because for some reason, I felt like you gonna cause me to get a strike. Because you out here eating people and watching my videos. Please. If you, what's it called when you eat somebody else? Cannibalism? No. Yeah, no. Point being, if you out here eating people, please do not watch my videos.
She even had the same major as one of my best friends and was taking some of the classes he was taking.
That's creepy.
But she didn't know if they had classes at the same time since they had just started and she was trying to figure out everyone's names. The best way to describe Alex is that she had shoulder-length blonde hair, cute glasses, freckles, and bright blue eyes. After texting for about an hour, I got her Snapchat and we moved the conversation there. I asked if she would want to hang out on Valentine's Day, and she was down.
That was fast.
So it was Valentine's Day 2018, which had fallen on the Thursday of the week. Luckily, I didn't have any Friday classes, and Alex said she would skip her Friday morning class so we wouldn't feel pressured to end the night so early. The first part of the night went pretty smooth. We got some McDonald's, saw a movie, and then walked...
I'm done with this video. You met somebody on Tinder, met up almost immediately, and y'all got McDonald's. I'm done with this video. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy. My family. Oh my God, I'm so done, man. Oh my, how are you gonna find somebody on Tinder, meet up almost immediately, and eat McDonald's?
On the downtown area for a while. To spare you the details, we eventually went back to my apartment and had sex. And to be honest, everything went great. She asked if she could spend the night because it was snowing out.
Oh my
God. Her place was about a 10-minute walk away.
Oh my God.
So of course I told her she could stay. We eventually fell asleep around 1 a.m. I'm a pretty light sleeper, especially when there's someone else in the bed with me. Around 3 a.m., Alex woke me up as she was getting out of the bed, but I didn't make her aware that she woke me up. It was pretty dark in the room, but I could see that she was walking towards the bathroom. She turned the light on and shut the door so that it wouldn't seep into the bedroom. I was very tired, so I just went back to sleep.
Hell no.
I awoke again around 5:30 a.m., and to my surprise, Alex wasn't in the bed next to me. I turned to see if she was still in the bathroom, but I couldn't see the outline of the light, so that meant it was turned off. I wasn't in too much of a shock yet. I was just curious as to where she was. So I sat up and grabbed my phone off my bedside table. I didn't have any text from her saying that she had left.
At least
but I was able to see that the clothes she'd been wearing earlier were still on the ground next to mine. So she was still here somewhere. I then heard...
Or unless she just ran out, butt booty naked.
Come from the other side of the bedroom. I could see that Alex was just standing in the corner, back facing toward me. I was really freaked out. I quietly called out her name and asked if she was okay, but there was no response.
Is it Alex?
I turned on the lamp I had on the bedside table. It didn't create too much light, but there was enough. I got out of bed and walked over to her. She was just standing there, not even moving.
Is it her?
I was so creeped out, but I wanted to see what was going on. I gently placed my hand on her shoulder and said her name again.
Is it her?
There was no response.
Fuck.
There were 10 seconds of silence, and right as I was about to say her name one more time, she turned around at an inhuman speed and started screaming like a maniac and hitting me. It wasn't the hardest of hitting, but I'm kind of a skinny guy, so it hurt a bit.
Oh.
The scariest part is there was no emotion on her face at all. I backed up and fell over onto my bed. And
again, telekinesis. She would have came at me. I would have been like, hold on. And now she's just in a position. Now she frozen in a position talking about something. I would have been like, what are you doing? What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? All right, bet.
Followed me, still screaming and hitting me. After about 30 seconds of this happening, she ran over to her clothes, grabbed them, and ran out of my apartment. I got off the bed and ran to my front door, which was left wide open, and she was gone. I shut it and locked it. I then noticed there was a horrible smell coming from the bathroom. The door was shut, and when I opened it, the horrible stench came out. I turned on the light and found the room in a mess. The shower curtain was ripped off, my medicine bag had been thrown on the ground, and my floor was wet. The worst part was that she defecated and smeared it on the mirror. I called the police immediately, and they sent an officer to my place.
Medicine bag?
They asked if they could see her Tinder and Snapchat profile, but of course, both had been deleted. I only had one picture of her that she sent on Snapchat, and I had screenshotted it because it was a cute-looking picture, but she was using a Snapchat filter in the picture. Sadly, there was not really much police could do except take a report and keep an eye open for her in the area.
You pop
They
pills?
advised me to have a friend sleep over later that night in case she would try to break in.
What kind of
Which
pills?
is what I did. I called one of my best friends, Rob. He was the one who had the same major as Alex. He came over later that night and I told him the whole story. One of the classes she said she was taking, that my friend was also taking as well, was a pretty small class that only met twice a week. I showed Rob the picture I had, and when I asked Rob if he knew her, he said he had never seen her in class.
That's insane.
Rob and I watched a movie and fell asleep around 12 a.m. I awoke around 3 a.m. to find someone trying to open the front door from the other side. After letting it happen for about a minute, it then stopped. I walked over and looked out the peephole, but nobody was there. Nothing has happened since, but it still really freaks me out.
You met somebody on Tinder. Like, what did you expect was going to happen? You thought you was going to meet somebody on Tinder? Huh? You thought you was going to meet somebody on Tinder? This is what I thought you think was going to happen. You thought you was going to meet somebody on Tinder, chop it up on Tinder, right? Exchange a few messages for about a day, right? Meet up the following day, right? Come on over. They meet the family, right? Y'all meet each other's family. And then what? Y'all get married within that same week. And then live happily ever after. That's what you thought was going to happen. Huh? I'm here to say, to burst your little clock bubble, shit, that's not shit. That's what it sounds like when I don't formulate my thoughts together and I just say how I feel. Oh my God, you thought you just gonna live happily ever after meeting somebody off of fucking Tinder? It's Tinder. It's Tinder. You know what Tinder spelled backwards is? Clucked. It's not. Matter of fact, I'm literally putting in Tinder and then spelling it, typing it backwards. Tinder spelled backwards is rednet. Kind of sounds like redneck. Or it kind of sounds like Reddit, which is also kind of, clucked. That's insane. Valentine's is coming up. Look, you're better off being by yourself than trying to find somebody on these dating apps. Don't do it. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy. My family.